All right. Hey guys, today I'm going to continue my mission to deliver massive value for you guys. Today we're going to talk about what is the best van for final mile deliveries. All right, let's dive in. Let's take a look at a couple of concepts. I want to make sure you don't overextend yourself and buy the wrong van, and then you get stuck with a massive payment. So let's go ahead and take a look at some core ideas towards your decision making. Okay. First thing, obviously, is overall size of the van. For example, a lot of guys show up with a high roof van. So you got high roof, you got low roof, you got extended frame. You got, in general, you got larger vans, even if they don't have a high roof, and you got smaller vans. So I personally like the smaller vans. We're going to continue talking about this. Engine size, 8-cylinder, 6-cylinder, 4-cylinder. Fuel efficiency, it's big and it's related to the engine size. You can have an 8-cylinder, but maybe it comes in different sizes. You want to get the smallest size. Year, what year is the van? Now, here is where you get into a balancing act between affordability and reliability. Because as a final mile delivery guy, reliability is huge. I have seen so many people lose their contracts because they simply cannot stay reliable and stay on the money. It's like if you got an old van you paid 3,800 for, but once a month it's something is breaking on it, and you know it's out for 3 days because maybe you're not a mechanic, or 5 days because you got to go source the part, and then you got to wait for the part and go through all that. It's not good. So trying to be too cheap is not great, but also overspending is not great. So I'm presenting sort of a range of ideas for you guys to be thinking about. And really, this video is for people that either haven't bought a van yet, maybe you're new to the game, you've been using your SUV or your car, doing Amazon Flex, maybe you're using all these different apps, Sparks, Veho, whatever, and you're wanting to up your game because you want to make more money because the car or the SUV is limiting you, but you don't know where to start. This video is going to really help you. We're going to get into brands in just a second. So speaking of brands, that's a big consideration. The big four ones that I see over and over again delivering final mile in this order: Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Mercedes. Okay. So, and those are the order, I think, from value and affordability on one side to extreme value, but expensive on the other, meaning a Dodge and the Mercedes, especially the Mercedes. You're going to pay a lot more for that thing, but you're going to get something in exchange for paying a lot more. So, again, everything I'm presenting right here is for you to decide. I'm just showing you sort of the parameters of where I'm thinking. Okay, this last thing I want to mention, this is really important. If you're not mechanically inclined, you have got to have a mechanic that you trust, that you know already on your team, who understands that your van is your moneymaker. So you don't want your mechanic to be holding on to your vehicle for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. You want to be able to schedule work, schedule maintenance, and have him get you in and get out, right? Schedule your maintenance on the weekends. If you're working Monday through Friday, I do see this. I see a guy schedule for an oil change. You're going to miss an entire day of work because of an oil change, but it's not even silly because you're missing the money. You're really irritating the people that are providing the work for you, because the whole game, if you've agreed to Monday through Friday, and then once a quarter or twice a quarter, you're missing an entire day for like an oil change, sir, ma'am, go get your oil changed on Saturday, for God's sake. Why are you going to lose a whole day? Because it's not just about your money that you're losing, but you're screwing up the guys that want to give you the freight because they're counting on you to be reliable and to show up. So think about these things, okay? If you're mechanically inclined, you can get away with a lot in terms of getting a cheaper van. Now, let's talk about some of the actual vans that I'm seeing in the business and seeing in the game. Now, this is probably it's a toss-up, but this might be one of my favorites. The Chevy Express 1500, 2014 and earlier. You're going to get value if you can find the right van. I will say this: make sure you get a Chevy Express that has side doors on the passenger side. I have seen these vans with no extra doors on the side, on the passenger side. You're going to want those doors on the passenger side to augment the rear doors, because if every time you make a delivery you have to walk around to the rear of your van, It's just slightly less efficient than if you have side doors. These incremental considerations really add up over time. Now, look, you might think I'm being too crazy to talk about tiny details like that, but let me explain something about the final mile delivery business. The margins are small, the margins are tight. So every bit of money that you can save and time that you can save, it's worth considering. So having side doors is going to save you incrementally little bits of time, but if this is a marathon, not a sprint. So, if you can save 10 seconds, it might sound silly, but if you're saving 10 seconds on every stop and you're doing 100 stops a day, all of a sudden you're talking about real time. And if you're doing this day after day, week after week, month after month, these little improvements do project into the future to bigger losses. So, what you want to do is think about these things and then just keep them in mind. So, whether it's tire pressure, since I'm talking about incremental expenses and incremental improvements, people don't think of this, but if you never check your tire pressure, you are killing your gas mileage. And as a result of that, you're literally, excuse my language, but you're pissing away money that should be going into your pocket for something as simple as tire pressure. I mean, there's no excuse in this day and age because there are Royal Farms everywhere with free air, right? There are Wawa everywhere with free air. I mean, get an electric thing and keep it in your van. They make cheap electric air compressors and they work. Plug it into your cigarette lighter. You fill up your tires once a week. You just top them off because they're going to go up and down. Also, it depends on the temperature outside, what time of year it is. In the winter, you got to work a little harder to keep your air pressure together. It's worth the effort. If you do these things, you're going to make more money over time. Okay, so anyway, that's the Chevy Express. I like the one that has the doors on the passenger side as well. I'd get the smallest engine you can get in a Chevy Express 1500, 2014 or earlier. I see the prices are all over the place. Another consideration regarding price is going to be the mileage of the van. Naturally, the higher the mileage that's on the van, the less expensive the van's going to be. If you find a 2014 with super low miles, maybe a guy was using it as his work van and just didn't work that much, and now he's finally done. So he's selling the van and only has 60,000 miles on it. You're going to pay a lot more. But that is a better place, in my opinion. It is better to buy an older van with lower miles and pay a little bit more for it to theoretically capture a little bit more reliability. I would do that. I would go with that. In fact, I did exactly that when I bought my 2006 Ford E250. I paid peanuts for it, considering how much money I made when I was running. And then when I sold the thing, I actually sold it for more money than I paid for it. And I put 100,000 miles on that thing. But I maintained it very well. I took very good care of it. So anyway, check out the Chevy Express 1500. See what you can come up with in terms of the year combined with the mileage. Look, the other thing, actually, this is a good place to mention this idea too. I don't like it when a guy shows up talking to me about getting a contract and he just bought a used, thank God, but like a 2022 Ram ProMaster high roof. The guy's payment, it's like $1,153 a month. Yeah, you were obviously a failed expediter, or you were doing OTR, but your wife is nagging because you're never home. So you want to come off the road and you're seeing me on YouTube talking about final mile delivery work. I got a guy making $8,000 a month delivering for HelloFresh for us. And it's like, you see that and you think, yeah, I'm tired of being on the road. I'll just stay at home and make $8,000 a month. No, that is an extreme example. And that guy's not running a late model Ram ProMaster with a high roof, and an extended frame. He's running a Ford. And I got another guy running a Chevy Express 2500. This is how you do it. I'm just giving you the best information regarding final mile delivery. It is very different from expediting. You do not want a payment. If anything, try to get an old van and pay cash for it. Maybe you don't have cash. Okay. It's at least when you finance an older vehicle that's under $10,000, your payment's going to be somewhere, in the upper 100s to maybe 280 a month, which is fantastic. If you can get a working, reliable van and have a payment that's less than 300 a month, or best if you had no payment at all, that's what you do. Don't go buy a fancy, expensive vehicle. All right, let's move on to the Ford. I just want you to see what the Ford looks like. I love this vehicle, the older E series. You got two doors on the side, you got doors in the back. I love this, so you can just open half the door. It's a wonderful vehicle. It's built like a tank. A young kid ran a red light and I smashed him. I didn't quite T-bone him, but I smashed the front of his car. I totaled his car. And my van, I went to work that day. I mean, it held me up for an hour dealing with the police and the kid. Luckily, he was fine. He was not injured at all, nor was I. But man, this thing is a tank. Uh, and I got the insurance money for the damage because his car spun around and smacked the side of my van. I got the insurance money and I just kept it because I didn't even repair. I didn't need to repair it. The doors to everything worked fine. The doors still worked fine. Had a little, the bumper on the front was a little dinged, but who cares? It's a delivery vehicle. So I put that money right in my pocket. I actually used it for gas. So I mean, it was a lot of money too. It was a couple $1,000s, but I viewed it as like free gas money. So hey, look, if you're in the final mile delivery business, you got to be thrifty. You got to be frugal. It's another way of saying cheap. Anyway, this is the van. This is a great delivery van, the E series, whether you can get a 150 or a 250. Now, most of these you're going to find are 8 cylinders, but they come in different sizes too, at least that I'm aware of. If you now, I haven't seen a 6-cylinder, but if you can find an E series that's a 6-cylinder and it's in good condition, I highly recommend you getting it. If it's in good condition and you can test drive it, maybe you have a 30-day warranty. If you can get something like that for anywhere from 5 to, depending on how many miles is on it, 5 to 10,000, have a very low payment. This is a great delivery vehicle. Okay, those are my two favorites. Okay, the Chevy Express, just make sure you got doors on the passenger side, get the smallest engine you can, or the E series, whether it be a E150 or E250, 2014 or earlier. You're going to have doors on both sides of the E series, as far as I know. Now let me show you a van that's a step up. Now this is a higher quality van right here, the Ram ProMaster. I like this, the small one. This is a 1500. I do not recommend a high roof anything if you're going to be in final mile delivery. You're just wasting gas. You're buying a too big of a vehicle. You're not going to utilize the capacity. I think for the majority of the work that we do, a standard size cargo van is going to be perfect. So this is a slightly better machine than the other ones I showed you. You're going to pay a little more. You can find these out there if you can find a deal. I would just stay away from getting anything too big. You don't want to overpay for capacity that you're not going to use. This is really good if you're already in the game. Let's say you've already been in final mile delivery for a year, driving an older van, and now some of the maintenance issues are starting to creep up on you. Look at the 2014 or newer Ram ProMaster. See what the pricing does. If you're already on the money in final mile delivery, and what I mean by that is if you're already making $5,000 a month minimum, and you're tired of driving your older van because you're making too many maintenance related delays to your mornings, or you're even maybe missing days at work because of this or that alternator, a starter, the CV joints, an axle, whatever. Upgrade. If you're already on the money, upgrade. So maybe instead of your $230 payment, now you have twice that. You have a $400 payment, but you're exchanging that payment for better, improved reliability. Because look, final mile delivery, we're really not talking about, you don't need high performance vehicle. All you need to do is make sure the thing runs, it starts, and it's not killing you on the gas. Reliability is everything. Who cares that you have a shiny, brand new, 2023 or 2024 ProMaster? It's just not the right tool for this game. It's just not the right tool for the job. It's too expensive. I got guys, and really why I'm telling you this and sharing this with you. I'm trying to provide value for you guys here on this channel. Guys complain because of the route. It's too many miles. I'm not making enough money. Brad, I need to make $8,000 a month. Yeah, okay. Well, you got a $1,200 a month payment. And if you just did it recently, most of that payment is going in interest, because that's how the banks do it. You're paying interest. You're working to pay for a van. That makes no sense at all. At the same time, you don't want to just go totally cheap, because then now you're into a van that's not reliable, and that can cause you to lose your contract as well. So I'm teaching you this stuff. I'm sharing this with you so that you can make your own decisions, but I'm giving you some parameters from which to make your decisions. So this is a slightly better vehicle. This is really if you're already on the money. This, consider this sort of an upgrade, really. It's a fantastic vehicle. I don't like how often I hear about the transmissions in the Ram ProMasters having issues, probably because in general, these vans are not designed to stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, which is what you're going to be doing. And that's hard on the transmission. So, I mean, it's hard on all these transmissions. It's just that I find the Ford and the Chevys, for whatever reasons, seem to be able to withstand that more. And by the way, part of that transmission stuff, it's the way you drive. Like when you go in reverse, and by the way, when you're a final mile delivery driver, you're doing reverse, forward, reverse park, reverse forward, reverse park, reverse. You're doing that all day long. Anytime you're going to change from reverse to drive or drive to reverse or park, make sure the van is 100% stopped before you put it in, before you take it out of gear or take it out of reverse. For example, like when you're making a U-turn, you got it in reverse. I know drivers do this because you think you're in a hurry. You think being efficient means you got to move really fast. That's not necessarily true. Efficiency is not just about speed of driving, especially if what you're doing to gain the speed is actually hurting your vehicle. It's not worth it. So when you go in reverse, come to an absolute 100% stop before you put it in drive. That's why I see a lot of drivers with these transmission issues because they're trying to be hasty. They're trying to speed it up. Well, you got to speed it up at the right points throughout your process. Shifting in and out of gear while the vehicle is still moving. I mean, if it's moving at all, it's wearing out your transmission. And a lot of people do this. It's so simple. Don't do it. Especially if you have a nicer vehicle, newer vehicle. You're just asking for a transmission problem if you do that. Now I'm talking to you newbies because I know you experienced guys are like, Brad, you're wasting my time talking about this. But if you don't know, I'm trying to provide value for you. I'm trying to show you the way to be really successful at this. All right. So the next vehicle, now this thing is a beauty. Really, I wouldn't recommend it. But again, if you're in the game already, one of the advantages of some of these Mercedes Sprinters is you can find them in 4 cylinders. Yeah, you're going to pay more, but everything I just said, keep it in mind. If you're already in the game and you're making 5, 6, 7, 8,000 a month, and you're tired of your older van, get a used. Look at the used Mercedes Sprinter. I think this is actually called a 2500 on the screen. It's the same thing I was just saying about the Ram ProMaster. It's a better machine. The fuel efficiency is better. You can find these a little bit newer. You're going to pay more, but if you can find a 4-cylinder and get a good deal and keep your payment low if you're already on the money, this is tolerable, but it's a high quality van. The parts are going to be a little bit more expensive. This is a very reliable vehicle. This is a great vehicle. It's just for an entry level vehicle into final mile delivery, I don't think so. I'd much rather see you go out and just get something cheap and build a relationship with a good mechanic. Okay. That's the deal because I hate to see guys working to make their payment. I really hate that. I'd much rather see you go get an older van, man, and just make a much smaller payment and take your risk a little bit until you've done this for a year or 2 and you're on a route. Now you're pumping the cash. Now maybe you've even been able to save some cash. Now you can upgrade your van to something a little bit more reliable to remove the risk. But you're exchanging that higher payment in exchange for lower risk. Because I'm telling you, a lot of guys, what happens is you jeopardize your contract with maintenance issues on your van. I mean, your van doesn't even have to have a catastrophic breakdown to screw up your contract, because if you call out once every 2 weeks, because 1 week is the starter, and the next week is the alternator, and then there's a CV boot that maybe your CV joint needs to be replaced, or your muffler came off, or those kind of things aren't happening on a later model van. Those things are happening on the older model van. So that's why you have to either be mechanically inclined. If you're going to go cheap, be mechanically inclined, or have a great mechanic that you trust and make sure he understands that this is your tool for your job. So you can't let him hold the van for 3 days to make a simple repair. Okay. All right, guys, listen, last thing, I hope you're finding value in these videos. If you are, be sure to like and subscribe. I want you to like because you encourage me to keep making these videos so I know who's finding value in these videos. Because if you're not finding values, I'm not going to keep making them. Also, if you want to keep getting notified of not just these kind of value videos, but also when I announce routes become available that I'm aware of. I put it on YouTube. Hit the subscription button and make sure you turn on the notification bell. So when I drop a video about a new route, you'll be among the first to get notified about it. Okay, last thing, I'm trying to provide massive value for you guys. I'm a former driver, so I feel like you guys are my tribe. I'm in the same tribe that you are of delivery driver. If you don't know about fuel rebate apps, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're going to get a lot of savings if you use the app. My favorite is Upside. The link to my Upside is in the video description of this video. Click that link. You're going to get a massive bonus if you use my referral link when you sign up for Upside. It is a gas app. It knows where you are. So when you open the app, it basically knows where you are. It's going to show you all the gas stations in the surrounding area to where you are that participate in the program. And at this point, everybody participates in the program. I've never had a problem finding a gas station. They're all around. I've been using the app for about 5 years now. I use it all the time. And when I was driving, I was really using it. What happens is every time you get gas at one of the gas stations in the app, you just use a credit card that you've registered with the app, and it keeps track. It gives you a rebate per gallon, and it changes from gas station to gas station. They have different deals. So I'm always looking at it, trying to find what is the highest rebate amount with the lowest price per gallon. That's the combination. So you want to pay a low price per gallon, and it shows you right on the app what these levels are, and you want to get the highest rebate amount per gallon. I love this app. It's a fun game to play, and it'll save on your fuel costs. You might think, it's not worth the trouble. It is. If you could save $2 to $4 every time you fill up, and it's going back on your app, when it hits your threshold, which you set, mine originally was set at 20 bucks. So anytime my app hit 20 bucks worth of rebates, it would just automatically deposit that money back into my checking account. And then I'm just constantly putting that money back in my gas tank. So I'm saving money continuously over time. And again, this business is a marathon, not a sprint. So these little incremental improvements are really going to help you. All right. So be sure to get the Upside app in the description, install it in your phone, register the credit card that you're going to be using, and use that same credit card every time you buy gas. That's all you do is use the same credit card. When you open the app, you find the gas station, you select it saying, yeah, I'm going to get gas right there. And you use that credit card to get gas, and that's all you have to do. And automatically money shows up in your account whenever you hit your threshold that you can set. All right. Hopefully you got value now. I'm happy for you guys that are new to the game. I'm your guy. I will help you and support you and make you become successful. All right, cool. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. If you like the value you're getting and you know other drivers, share the channel. Be sure to tune into the channel so I can keep giving you value and get you on a contract so you can make some money. Cool. All right, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.